September is the World Maritime Day and the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. On the 27th of September is the World Tourism Day. On the 29th of September is the World Heart Day. Stay tuned to TVC News for this reports and analysis.
TVC News, first with breaking news. Doubt and fear. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, Boko Haram insurgents attack Buni Yadi in Yobe State as Senator Ndume rallies Nigerian armed forces to clear terrorist group from Sambisa Forest, Mandara Mountains and other hideouts. And PDP governors restate support for Governor Siminalayi Fubara reporting Nyesom Wike to security agencies. And later on the show, NNPC yet to lift petrol from Dangote refinery as concerns grow over product availability and potential monopoly. The Executive Vice President of the Downstream and immediate past Chief Finance and Investor Relations Officer at the NNPCL, Adedakpo Shegun, will also be joining us on the show. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamiu. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. Whenever the history of the Boko Haram insurgency is being written, Buni Yadi in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, will take prominent place due to severe attacks it served in the hands of the insurgents in the past. In the wake of another attack on the town, the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, has appealed to the troops under the theater command of Operation Haidinkai and other security agencies to intensify efforts towards clearing remnants of the dreaded Boko Haram members, especially those hibernating around the Sambisa Forest, Mandara Mountains and other hideouts in border communities with Goza and Republic of Cameroon. Senator Ndume said pockets of attacks recently perpetrated by insurgents have posed serious economic setbacks to resilient farmers, now newly resettled in liberated communities as the terrorists resorted to the looting of their crops. Let me start with you, Babajide Kolade, PKO. We hear of attacks in Buni Yadi. Yobe State has been experiencing some level of peace for a while now. And now, another attack. Tell us more about this.
You know, as I've always warned, the problem with these terrorists is they may not strike for a long time.
Okay.
Thereby giving us that false sense of total victory. And I've always demanded that we should be very, very vigilant because the enemy has not been exterminated. The enemy has been weakened, but in my view, not defeated. When the enemy is defeated, you see what happened in Sri Lanka. The Tamil Tigers were defeated to the last
completely
man, to the last man. And since their defeat, after more than 20 years of fighting government forces, you've not heard anything about Tamil Tigers.
Okay.
We've not heard anything about that. That is the definition of defeat. And I keep telling people who say, oh, insurgency cannot be defeated. It's a lie.
But they said technically defeated.
It's a lie.
What does that mean?
We've seen insurgents defeated in Algeria. We've seen insurgents defeated in Sri Lanka. So let's banish the thought that you cannot totally defeat insurgents or terrorists. You can defeat them. The Sri Lankans have told us that it's possible. They fought for 25 years, but they got victory. These boys went to a village in Babangida local government and killed more than 34 persons, based on the testimonies of residents.
Exactly, they said.
But we were told that only about 34 people died. I disagree. Much more people died. But we are not even talking about figures here. After that attack, we've seen them go to Buniyadi. Buniyadi was where they slaughtered 44 schoolboys.
Yes, we heard of that story.
In their sleep. I went there to do a documentary some earlier last year. You know? We've seen them now go back to that place to attack and kill people and set ablaze the palace of the emir. Even the emir does not live in the place. The emir lives in the state capital. But it didn't stop them from setting ablaze the place. Reports are still sketchy. Up to this afternoon, Nigerian newspapers had not even been able to have a good grip on what happened, because soldiers have limited access to the area. So, but we have information confirmed by the police that the boys came last night to kill people, to attack the headquarters of the local government. It's the headquarters of Gujuba local government. Okay. The governor's hometown is just a spitting distance from that place. You can even trek.
It's walking distance.
Yes, it's called, his own hometown is Bunegeri. Okay. And Bunegeri has a military base. Buniyadi has Nigerian Special Forces residents there. So
then how come?
Sometimes it's difficult to explain these things. And that's why I say we should be vigilant.
Okay.
The enemy who can ignore the fact that we have a military base close by, okay, we have special forces residents there. They train our special forces. We have special forces there. The enemy who ignores the fact that Sector 2 command, okay, of the Operation Hardin Kai is located in the area. It's an enemy that remains dangerous. It's an enemy that must not be treated with kid gloves. So I agree with Senator Ndume, because he comes from Goza, and his own hometown, Ambagda. Since 2014, Boko Haram has made it impossible for people to live in his hometown. You know, so he wants peace. Remember that there was a bomb attack in Goza, okay, which led to loss of lives. So he's saying, look, these boys, kick them out of Sambisa forest, keep them out of Mandara Mountains, because the Mandara Mountains, the other side of it is Cameroon. So they have their bases on top of the mountain, and they come down, attack farmers, attack communities, and go back, and then climb the mountain again. You know, it's a treacherous terrain. So it has not been easy for the military to launch an all-out war against them on the Mandara Mountains. And that Mandara Mountains was controlled by Shekau. Even his loyalists, including the notorious Ali Goza, they are still residents there. They refused to join the Abanawi faction. Okay, the Abanawi faction was resident in the islands of Lake Chad. But the Shekau faction stayed in Sambisa, stayed in the Mandara Mountains, because they found those places kind of safe for them.
Okay, because the Nigerian soldiers cannot just get there.
It's not easy. It's not to easy access to get there. Okay. The Mandara Mountains. You need, even if you are bombing them, there are caves where they can hide. And to flush them out, you need surface troops to take over the area. And such operation can be really, really treacherous and dangerous because you are dealing with an enemy that is much more familiar than you.
Okay.
Much more familiar
of the
territory
terrain
than you.
Okay, they already. All right. Let me come to you, Majid. Senator Ali Ndume rallying armed forces, for this. So, what do you think will be the outcome of this? What should we expect?
Yeah, this is not the first time Senator Ali Ndume will be making this kind of call, and Yobe in particular, we've had some relative peace in Yobe for quite some time. I think the boys, what they tried to show over the weekend is that, yes, we are still here. We are still a force to reckon with. And it goes to show that Buninyadi, they have identified Buninyadi as a soft target where they occasionally go in and out of, wreak some havoc, kill and maim, and then go back to the mountains. And it's rather unfortunate that we have a special military base in Buninyadi, and this kind of thing is still happening. So I think the new DSS and NIA chiefs should form a synergy with the other security operatives to improve on intelligence gathering so that at least we can, suppress this insurrection. It's becoming embarrassing. They are attacking now at a time when people are supposed to be moving into the farms and, getting ready for the farming season. So they know it's a target, and you could also see that from the reports we are getting.
Yes.
It's like they are even going to the farms to harvest what the people already planted.
All right. I just hope that this issue I just hope that there will be peace yet again. All right, let's move straight to another story where governors and other stakeholders on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, may be ready to call the bluff of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, regarding the crisis rocking the party. The PDP governors have urged security agencies to note the threats being made by Nyesom Wike to cause political crisis in the state of any governor who tries to interfere in the affairs of the party in Rivers State. Now, in a statement, the Director General of the PDP Governors Forum, Emmanuel Agbo, said nobody is above the law and urged security agencies to take note of the minister's utterances. Agbo also noted that the statements and threats to peaceful coexistence made by Wike to put fire in the PDP-controlled states are unbridled, irresponsible and totally unacceptable, as it undermines efforts to build and maintain peace, cohesion and mutual respect amongst leaders and members of the party. Yeah, Biko, I asked you sometimes, but I said that what the former Rivers State governor said, who is now the FCT minister, do you see it as just an empty bluff, or it is something that needs to be taken seriously?
He meant what he said. And to an extent, he has the capacity to cause problems in some states. But I do not think he has the capacity to cause problems in
all the states.
In all
the PDP
states, if all the governors were to gang up against him. Because what he wants is for the governors to support him wholeheartedly against Fubara. But esprit de corps will not let the PDP governors want to do that. PDP governors, he still has friends amongst the PDP governors,
sure.
But even those who will support him will not like to do it openly, because backing a sitting governor, one of your own, against someone who is no longer a governor is unusual in the political history of our country. It's unusual. Governors usually back one of their own. That solidarity is usually strong. And we saw it even with the APC. The APC governors, when they were led by Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ekiti State, they moved against Oshiomhole. Because Oshiomhole moved against one of their own.
Yes.
Who eventually didn't even remain in their party. Oshiomhole lost his position. The governors were so strong that they came together and said, look, it's time to have a caretaker committee. And they chose one of their own. The president at the time just left them to do whatever they liked. They removed, they removed a national chairman, put a caretaker committee in place, headed by one of them, Mai Mala Buni, the current governor of Yobe State. They extended the tenure of the caretaker committee when they felt that, okay, when Mala Buni had overstayed his welcome, they were the ones who also decided that it was time for the caretaker committee chairman to go, so that they can then have a national convention of the party where a new leadership can then be put in place. All right. So this is how strong governors are. Okay. And the way from history, remember even when Yaradua told them, look, when Obasanjo told them, go and pick one of your own to succeed me. So this is how strong governors are. They always back one of their own. And you saw that Goodluck Jonathan,
yes,
a former governor of Bayelsa, became president. Namadi Sambo, a former governor of Kaduna, became his deputy. We can talk at length about how strong Nigerian governors are. So the point that I'm making is, it is not possible for him to put fire in every state. He's overreaching himself and punching above his weight category by saying, I can put fire. If all of them were to rise against him, how will he be able to? So, and that's why as somebody who likes him politically, okay, I like the fact that he has a good political brain. He is very methodical. But what I quarrel with is his unbridled tongue.
Okay.
Some of the things he says are unnecessary. Some of the things he was saying push Fubara to then begin to just open his mouth anyhow too. So it's like the one who even pushed Fubara to begin to talk in this manner. And as a leader and as an elder, it's not everything that you say. Lao Tzu, the philosopher, even said that whatever plan you have for your enemy, do not give them a hint of it. So that by the time you unleash your plan, it's too late. It's too late. So I don't understand why you just, every opportunity, you just talk. Now you have friends. Among those friends, now you've got some of them angry by your bare-faced threats to them. No, that you are going to make. I mean, you don't need that. So I'm not surprised now. I know that it's not, when he says he's going to put fire, it's not as if he's going to cause violence. No, that's not what he meant. So some of the people reading violence to it and trying to get the security people involved, they are just wasting their time. What he meant was that within the political structure of their states, of the party in their states, it can cause some problems. And it's possible if someone were to shell money, were to pump money into an area, it can cause trouble. It can cause A to rise against B to say no. You can see what's happening in Labour Party, for example. Some people, if they have money, the ruling party, for example, if they wanted to make things worse, they can.
Just pump money
to make sure that they do not have peace. Politicians do it to one another. They do it to opposition elements if the opposition is stubborn. So I'm not saying that APC is doing it to them. They have their problems in Labour Party. We'll have their own discussion on
on a later day.
So, but I'm saying that he didn't mean violence. putting fire, he used it metaphorically. It doesn't mean it is a fire, real fire that we are talking about here. That is causing problem. For example, going into a state, sponsoring a candidate against the choice of a governor, for example. The governor will start running a task because to see his own candidate defeated will be a big shame.
Okay.
So, and he has done that in the past. He believes that even though he's no longer a governor, but he's a governor in a way.
Influence.
If you look at the budget of the FCT, look at the budget of
so he's the governor of
Abuja. Just go now, look at the budget of Rivers, look at the budget of FCT. Come back and tell me the difference. Okay. So he still sees himself as a governor. He still believes he can do some of those things that he was doing as a governor. And he was telling them, look, I will cause crisis in your state. Crisis, not necessarily that you will go and be instigate violence. But you don't even need to say that. If you are in their party, you want peace. You have to guide what you say. It's not everything that is desirable to say.
Okay.
That is sensible to say.
All right, Majid, let me come to you now. The governors, BKO talked about advantage of these governors coming together. Now, the governors now coming together, rallying around the Rivers State governor. Is this coming too late?
Well, I won't say it's coming too late.
Or it's right on time?
No, it's expected for governors to always support their own. But in this case, Fubara is a weakling. As far as Rivers politics is concerned. And you see, if you don't have a hold on the machete, you don't ask the candidate.
Okay, let me just hold that thought here. BKO, do you think the governor's coming to the aid of the Rivers State governor is coming too late here?
I would not say it's too late.
Or is right on time?
It's in the context of 2027 politics, it's a bit far away, so I cannot say it's too late. A lot can still happen between now and that time. It is, I analyzed this some days back. It is the courts that will determine who carries the day in the politics of Rivers State. There are key issues that have to be decided. The matter of the defection, in inverted commas, of those House of Assembly members. If it gets resolved
quickly
in favor of the governor, he gains an upper hand. If it gets resolved in favor of those lawmakers, Fubara will then begin to run helter-skelter because he knows that there's no love lost between him and them. You understand? And he has not been able to woo them to his side. You know, so that means a lot of the decisions that he took with only 3 members of the House of Assembly, those decisions, it depends on the consequential order made by the court. Those decisions could amount to a nullity at the end. So I think the courts have the final say on those matters. And whatever the courts decide will strengthen either of the contending parties. That's the way I see it.
All right, Majid, let's talk solutions now. Elders, statesmen, they've tried to wade into this feud between the Rivers State governor and the minister, but with little or no result here. Now, what do you think will be the solution in sorting this out? Or do you think there will be no solution? One person will have to leave the party for another?
Well, not really. It's all political calculation, and I listened to Wike while addressing delegates over the weekend. I mean, it was live on TVC. And he said the battle for the soul of the party is on. And he was addressing delegates that at the end of the day, people will know who is in charge of the structure of the party. You see, as of today, Wike controls the structure of the party in Rivers.
But who is the leader of the party in Rivers as the governor?
The governor is supposed to be the leader. But you see, where there is friction, Fubara should see Wike today as a bull in Insecurity or Rumola shop. I mean, Rumola is very popular street in Rivers. So, if you push him too much, he can scatter the whole. And Fubara knows this. So now the battle for the soul of the party in Rivers, and recall that while Buhari was there for 8 years, it was Wike that was funding PDP in most of the states of the federation where PDP didn't have governors. So those states are still very loyal to him. So it's not only in Rivers. And he's still doing that.
He has his boys. So.
He has his boys all over. So that's why he said he can cause trouble, not probably setting the state ablaze.
Yes, not ablaze.
He has the capacity to cause trouble. But then people will ask, why would the president not call him to order? It is a PDP affair.
Some are even saying that why didn't the DSA, if it was another person, the DSA would have called you and maybe have a conversation.
But it's part of politics.
That, if you are my enemy, you are making life difficult for me, I will respond in kind. I can create crisis within the party in the state. I can create a faction, for example. So if I have the resources, I can create a faction. And if I create a faction, you start running a task. You will find it difficult to then unite the members of the party in the state. So that was what it meant, that those governors would not be able to sleep. That the kind of crisis that it could cause. And the resources at his disposal will tell you that it's possible for him to create crisis in some states, but I don't think the capacity is there to create crisis in all of those states. The states of the north, for example. How do you go to Zamfara to create crisis, for example? How do you do it? Maybe in the south states, yes, he can do something, but it's not everywhere.
All right, then. Okay, we need to go on this quick break. Journalist Hangout will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The National Chairman of All Progressives Congress APC, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umar Gandoje, OFR, cordially invites you to the formal unveiling of the Progressives Institute, holding on Friday, September 6, 2024, 10 a.m. at Ladi Lawal Hall, Abuja Intercontinental Hotel, formerly Sheraton Hotel, Wuse, Abuja. Formal unveiling by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCON, Vice President of Nigeria. Chairman of occasion, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, Senate President. Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker, House of Representatives. Inaugural address, His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodinma, Chairman, Progressives Governors Forum. Chief host, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umaru Gandoje. Host, Larry Adedayo, PhD, Director General. Be there.
Home quality, wires and cables on. Home and come back, light up your life. Home and want to light up your house. Home and want to give you better. Home and extraordinary wire. Home and cables, home and wires, home and quality, home and durable, home and capable. Home and cables, home and wires, home and quality, home and durable, home and capable. Everybody, home and see, home and wires, wonder things. Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, go get your own. Home and wires, home and cables, home and quality, home and durable, home and capable. Home and wires, home and cables, home and quality, home and durable, home and capable. Home and cables,
Coleman Wires and Cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter, powering our prosperity and happiness.
sustainable future, breaking the shell. Start time solar.
but also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Star Times Solar, power your life.
All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I'm still hanging out with Moji Jamia and BKO Babajide Koladu Titoju. My name is Benga. To our next story. In the face of the current fuel scarcity across Nigeria and the recent hike in the pump price of petrol, the news of refined petrol from the Dangote refinery hitting the market raised hope of light at the end of the tunnel for the country. But the Dangote Group has dismissed reports that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has started lifting premium motor spirit, PMS, popularly known as petrol, from its refinery and sold it for 897 naira per litre to Nigerians. In a statement, the Group Chief Branding and Communications Officer Anthony Chejina said the NNPCL is yet to start lifting fuel from the refinery. All right, BKO, let me come to you here. Dangote Refinery saying that it is yet to finalize its agreement with the NNPCL 48 hours after. In your opinion, what is responsible for the delay here?
No, I think Nigerians have to be patient.
Patient?
Yes. Dangote Refinery would get products from NNPCL. The president has said that they should sell crude to him in naira.
Okay.
You know, which we believe will ease the burden of dollar illiquidity that is facing us as a country. About 40% of our dollar needs goes to importation of
the product.
PMS. Now, we are confident that once Dangote begins to roll out PMS, the need to spend all of those dollars to bring in products will not be there. So it will improve access to foreign exchange.
Okay.
The market will be stable. Our currency will be stable. That volatility, at least we can address it, because the 40% of forex needs for the purpose of importation of PMS would no longer be there. So that gets me excited. But people must realize that, look, these things take time. Yes, Dangote said we are ready. It can hit the our PMS can hit the retail end within 48 hours. But it is not NNPC alone that have the capacity to buy from Dangote. Dangote was really prepared for a day like this. At that refinery, they have capacity to load more than 280 tankers simultaneously.
Simultaneously?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have, and from that refinery, from the port, because he has built a port in that place.
Port, yes.
Vessels can take PMS and move them to the various tank farms where those big marketers, Shafa, Rano, all of them, where they can then get supplied. So NNPC, they are still in talks about modalities. Dangote will eventually determine the price at which the product will be sold. All of the stories that Nigerians, that FEC will determine price, that NNPC, no, I debunked it yesterday, and I'm happy that a spokesman of the NNPCL also came out to say, no, You cannot determine the price of product for the person who produces it. How do you determine how much he spent as his production costs and all that? But a lot of the marketers are even reluctant at this time because they know that whatever it is, if they go to buy straight from Dangote at this time, it will be above 1,000 naira. So they are trying to see whether by the time NNPC begins to supply him and is paying in naira, whether the cost will go down a little bit, because those associated costs like cost of freighting, insurance and all that will not be part of it. So the landing cost, as we are familiar with, is about, they say, 1,117. Because this is home sourced, home produced, home refined, we believe that it will be a little less than the landing cost. So I believe they will get to that, but these things will take time. And NNPCL has said that they are going to supply him with, I think, 11.7 with some crude. They will supply him crude in November and September. He will get 17.8 million barrels. He will get 6.8 million barrels in September. No, this month 17.8, next month 6.8, on November 6.8. So 7 cargoes will get to him in the month of September, 7 cargoes. So it will, I believe that once those supplies have been made, then we can see light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, BKO. Sir, Mojid. The BKO is talking about a good food, it takes time. But will Nigerians be understanding and be patient for this thing to materialize?
I'm in Nigeria, and I'm not patient. The queues, the manner was spent at the filling stations needs to be addressed. Now we know we have the much-awaited PMS, petrol. I mean, I don't know how many hours you spend at filling stations, but for big boys like you, you might not need to do that. For some of us, I mean,
you should be directed to BK.
We spend hours to get. I mean, we have filling stations. The few filling stations that are selling, dispensing petrol, but basically,
you drove to the filling station yourself and spent hours there.
Yes, now. Because I'm not as big as you are.
No, you provide evidence.
Let's get back to the conversation.
But basically, I think Dangote should also tell Nigerians that
this is the amount.
Between May and now, they have received 30 million barrels from 30 million barrels of crude oil from NNPC. And this month, like Jide said,
it's
in
going
September,
to get 17.
No, 6.3 this month. And 11.3 in October, making about 17.8 million barrels of crude oil. So NNPC is already fulfilling its own
obligation.
Okay, we'll get between September and October we will get 17.6 million.
That's September and October. So, but then the cost of cracking 1 liter of petrol is between 30 and 70 cents, which is close to $1. So if you look at that, I mean, we now factor transport costs and other costs. So that's what NNPC and Dangote, that's what they are trying to resolve. But I think they should resolve it fast because the product is here
it's
now.
In our backyard, so we just have to get it done.
And I mean, we are seeking, we want to stop queuing.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I think it's time for us to join our Abuja studio for more discussion on this issue. Right about now, we have the Executive Vice President of the Downstream and Immediate Past Chief Finance and Investor Relations Officer of the NNPCL, Adedapo Segun. Adedapo Segun, thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout today.
Thank you very much.
Adedapo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, let's begin the conversation. Dangote Refinery is saying that the NNPCL is yet to lift petrol from its facility. What is the implication of this?
Well, that's very true. You recall that we've been having conversations. We actually have met a number of times to discuss the modalities. You'll agree with me that the FEC memo basically introduces a payment mechanism, but the commercial terms still have to be agreed with between the parties. We've made good progress in discussing and agreeing the commercial terms, but there's still gaps to be closed. Dangote refinery had informed us earlier that they would commence PMS production on September 15th. And so that's what we're working towards.
Now, the big issue now is product availability. Nigerians want to be able to buy petrol without losing so many man-hours at filling stations. What is the NNPCL doing at this time to ensure product availability so that this pain can be taken away? And we had reports that some vessels have actually landed in Nigeria. Can you give us some clarity on this?
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say to Nigerians to please, we understand the pains, we understand what Nigerians are going through. It's not something that we wish upon Nigerians, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we alleviate those pains. Currently, we have over 1 billion liters of PMS in country, on ground and also in the underwater, and which is more than sufficient to meet our daily needs. The issue really for us recently, most recently, following the change in fuel prices, filling stations, it's taking them some time to recalibrate their pumps. So you find that there are stations that have fuel, but because the pumps have not been recalibrated, they're yet to sell. NNPC has close to 1,000 stations around the country. We quickly recalibrated our pumps. A lot of other brands have also done a good job of recalibrating their pumps, but there's still yet some stations that are yet to start selling because the pumps are yet to be recalibrated. Expect this to fizzle within the next few days, definitely.
Okay, let's talk about the value chain in which, in the efficient distribution of the product across the country. What should be the role of the NNPC in the value chain here?
Ideally, NNPC should come in as a supplier of last resort, and that's what is captured in the PIA. Suppliers of last resort to provide energy security. So what's happening today is not it's not the normal situation. We should come in where others are unable to provide fuel. But today we're the only ones able to come in to provide the fuel because others will not. If others come in today to provide us fuel and make it available, NNPC will recede in the volumes that we are making available. Because it's not supposed to be only NNPC making fuel available. We're only supposed to be suppliers of last resort. So that's the role NNPC ideally should be playing. But where you have a situation where market forces are not entirely determining the prices of fuel, then others will find it difficult to play. Where you have a situation where exchange rates is volatile, the other marketers don't want to take the risk, so they stay away from it. Where you have a situation where the pump price is not reflective of market, the other marketers stay away. And it's only because they've stayed away from bringing in PMS that NNPC has been forced to fill that gap.
Can you confirm that NNPC has actually delivered 30 million barrels to Dangote since inception between May and now, and also that NNPC is committed to a further 6.3 million barrels in September and 11.3 million barrels in October to the Dangote refinery. And Alhaji Aliko said during his press briefing that NNPC is the sole off-taker of the initial PMS, petroleum product, that will be coming from Dangote. How far are these statements true?
Thank you very much. That's actually very correct. NNPC has been a huge cheerleader of the Dangote refineries, and we actually started delivering crude to Dangote refineries in December last year. And between December last year and August this year, we've delivered almost 30 million barrels of crude oil to Dangote refineries in 36 cargo parcels. This month alone, we're delivering over 6 million barrels of crude oil to Dangote refineries in 7 parcels. And in October, we will be delivering over 11 million barrels of crude oil to Dangote in 13 parcels. So this we've done quietly. We don't have to come and announce it everywhere, but I can assure you that we have quietly been supportive, aggressively supportive of Dangote refinery, because we understand the benefits of having petroleum refined and sold locally.
The NNPCL also has refineries of its own. Are you convinced that we'll be able to supply Dangote all of what it needs, given the fact that we also have foreign clients and we also need to feed our own refineries once they begin to work? And given that the Nigerian crude oil is seen as the most sought after in the world, do you think we are in position to be able to give Dangote as much as it needs?
Well, to put it in perspective, the volume of crude oil Nigeria produces today is more than enough to supply all of the refineries. However, NNPC only has a fraction of this. Recall, NNPC is like every other oil and gas company out there. We're competing with the other oil and gas companies. So NNPC alone cannot supply all of the refineries when they're running full steam. That is where the PIA comes in. It's instructive to note that the PIA provides for domestic crude obligation for producers. So it's not only NNPC that ought to be providing crude oil to domestic refineries. All of the producers should be providing crude oil to all of the refineries. And this process is managed by NUPRC. NUPRC actually has been engaging all of the refineries and all of the producers to match the demands with the supply. So there isn't an expectation that NNPC will be the sole provider of crude to all of the refineries in Nigeria.
Well, there are concerns that the Dangote refinery may become monopolistic. What's your view on this?
Again, I go to the PIA. If you take a look at Section 205 of the PIA, you know, this is the law, and it will be good for all of us to consult the law and see what the law says. You know, when you hear a lot of things here and there, the bottom line really is the law. If the law doesn't support it, it won't happen. The law provides that petroleum products should be sold on unrestricted free, on the basis of unrestricted free market conditions. That is the law. The law even has, Section 205 even has a provision against monopoly. So it can't happen. If there is monopoly or a situation where there is a player that holds a significant portion, share of the market, the NMDPRA by law has a role to play in that. So the issue of monopoly will not happen because prices will be determined based on a free market situation. If the price is right, people will buy. If the price is not right, people will go to the other person who's able to provide the same products at a lower price. And that really is where the consumer begins to, that is when the consumer becomes king, when there's competition amongst the providers. And that is the situation, that's the PIA envisages, and that is what will happen because that's the law.
Yeah, in South Africa, between May and yesterday, September 4, they have reduced pump price of their petroleum products, PMS, and diesel and paraffin by about 3.3 rands, which is about 297 naira. Although we bear in mind that in South Africa, the pump price is about 2,000 naira equivalent, which is about 22 rands. But then, between May and now, the point is they have reduced 3 times by a total of 3.3 rands because crude oil prices are coming down. Why is it that in Nigeria, rather than come down, we are going up?
I would say the answer to that question is in the question itself. You just told us that in South Africa, PMS sells for the equivalent of about 2,000 naira per liter. Now, South Africa's market is driving, South Africa's prices are driven by the free market forces, and that is why it's as high as 2,000. So the only reason why it went down is because the driving season, the summer season is winding up, and we're moving into the winter season where the demand for PMS is reduced. But in our own situation, the prices before now and even up to now are not market reflective. So where you have a situation where the prices follow the market trend, changes in the market, you typically see a reduction as the summer months roll off and the winter months come in. And that is a situation we should get to in Nigeria where the seasons determine the prices. The market forces determine the prices. And that's when, like I said earlier, the customer will be king because competition will be engendered and the suppliers will compete against each other. You'll see in other climes, you drive around to gas stations right beside themselves with different prices. And that's really is what the situation that will answer all the questions. When PMS is sold based on market forces, it will be readily available because everyone who is able to will go out, get the products, sell them at market prices. They'll make their money. Someone else comes into the market and says, hey, it seems like there's good money in PMS marketing. They'll come in, and as you have multiple suppliers coming, the customer becomes strengthened because competition will definitely drive down prices.
All right, thank you so much, Adedapo Segun. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Adedapo Segun is the Executive Vice President of the Downstream and immediate past Chief Executive, immediate past Chief Finance and Investor Relations Officer, the NNPCL. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, then. It's a fine place to leave it, but one last take from you, BKO. With all of the things he said, but basically the issue of monopoly, and he backed it by the law. What are your thoughts on that part?
Yes, and I think the NMDPRA is not prepared to allow monopoly to happen because they know it's injurious to energy security. And you heard Alhaji Farouk say that clearly. I think also that is the reason they continue to issue licenses for people to bring in product. Otherwise, they could simply have said, oh, Dangote has capacity to produce diesel, aviation, kero, therefore we will not issue new licenses. So they are allowing people to still be able to bring in
to bring about competition.
I think they are determined to ensure that monopoly it does not happen.
Okay, Majid, in just 10 seconds, do you have any thoughts on this?
The 1 billion liters of petrol that they have on ground, they should bring it out for us. They should, please, they should bico. All this suffering is too much.
All right, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I've been having this conversation with BKO, Babajide Kolade Otitoji. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Moji Chami, thank you very much for coming to the studio to have this conversation with us. And yes, that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Remember, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. And we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.